What's going on, people? So, got another box of shoes here, knocking out all those reviews that have been piling up during my little hiatus of sorts. Real quick, side of the box for those that care to see that. There it is for you. It says something about an Adidas shoe, Nice Kicks, whatever. Extra laces here on top. So I picked these up, I don't know when, at some point within the last 3 weeks, I guess. And they came from the Confirmed app, right? So Adidas, that's Adidas's raffle system for those that don't know. They were also available on the Nice Kicks webpage, right? And they sat over there for a while, but I didn't know how easy they would be to come by because sometimes stuff may not really seem all that great or like it's going to be flying off shelves, and then it does. So I was like, well, let me put in on the raffle thing, and then if that doesn't play out right, I've got this over here all loaded up and ready to go, right? But then they sent me the little thumbs up or however they notify you, and here we are. So $180 later, plus maybe some taxes, maybe some shipping. That's what I paid for these in case anybody's curious. So here we go, looking at these real quick, kind of a red and black sort of deal going on here. And everything seems to be fine. I looked these over when I did the Instagram live unboxing, but I haven't seen them in a little while, so I figure I should check again. But everything looks to be fine, so that means that we can just go ahead and knock out this review and all that good stuff on this right here. This is the Adidas Ultraboost Nice Kicks, whatever you want to call it. Because I don't remember if it had an actual color. Actually, it did. It was the No Vacancy. That's what it was. No Vacancy. It's all coming back to me now. Anyways, let's go ahead and kick this thing off at the bottom. Down there, what you're looking at seems to be a gum bottom. However, upon closer inspection, not quite. It's that sort of color, it's that brownish color. But this looks more like a peanut butter sort of vibe going on, right? So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. It's a weird combination, personal opinion. But hey, it is what it is. And then otherwise, everything looks the same as it normally does. Got your torsion system and all that good stuff going on, right? It's an Ultraboost setup. Those have been around for years. Moving on. Midsole here, right? Similar Ultraboost setup, whited out boost as they typically are. Nothing fancy about that. So we can just go ahead and move on from it, right? Now we're going to talk about this here upper, right? So you can see overall what the shoe is mostly looking like. And it pretty much looks almost exactly like the last Nice Kicks Ultra4d shoe. It's just that one was black and white. This one is red and black, right? And this one had a 4D midsole. This one doesn't. So that's pretty much the difference there. Otherwise, very much the same, right? I mean, you can see for yourself. But anyway, so now, getting back on track, finishing off this review and all that good stuff. The upper here, right? The material that they use for this, it's not like your standard prime knit material or anything like that, or even prime green or prime blue. This is more of, it's a sort of a meshy feel that kind of reminds me of a Presto or something like that. So it's not my preference. If I had a choice in the matter, I'd definitely choose one of the knitted variations. But one thing that I do like that they fixed on here is that when you kind of press in on the material, it doesn't spread out and give you that white sort of look, which was a problem like when I was doing the review on these right here. I'm gonna take all this crap out of here. As you press in, you can kind of see that like it spreads out and there's just like that white material under there. Not great, right? From a visual perspective, personally, I didn't like it. But these, they kind of got over that, and now it just looks red under there, which is kind of a thing that actually makes sense. Anyway, so you got that whole thing basically going on all across the upper. You can kind of tell that from just taking a gander or two. So we're not going to dwell on it too much because I kind of feel like I've hit everything. So let's just move on to the back end. Well, not to the back end, but to the mid section, and then we'll hit the back end. Around here, you pretty much have your standard cage that you've seen on mostly every Ultraboost 1 through 4, right? It's that same sort of setup, nothing fancy about it, just blacked out. And then moving back to where the heel cups and all that are, same thing. You got Ultraboost down here on the side and that embossed print or whatever you want to call it, and that kind of just sums up everything, right? So then we'll come back around to the front area, and up here what you have is just standard black laces. So that pretty much covers everything there is to cover about the shoe. So as far as the outside or anything goes. Now, the one thing that is a little bit different between the two of them is at the very top, right there above the laces. On this one, you have the Nice Kicks logo, right? It just says Nice at the top. And then on the other one, you have the black and red Adidas logo. So that's pretty much the only other difference to, give you a little bit of branding. Speaking of, on the inside here, you also have a little bit of branding. So there on the inside, on the insole, it does say Adidas and Nice Kicks, right? Which is the same setup that they've done on the last, that they did on the last review, or excuse me, on the last shoe that I bought for a review. The Ultraboost Woodstock one, they had like a different sort of vibe going on, but I believe it said Nice Kicks in there too. And so basically it's got that same tie-dye thing going on that you saw on the outside of the shoe, just on the inside, and that's about it. So I think that kind of covers everything there is to say about the shoe itself. So now I'll hit you with some personal thoughts and whatnot, then we'll move on into the sizing and all that good stuff. Here's the thing. The look of this particular shoe, it wasn't like amazing to me, but one of the things that got me was, for one, I saw the gum bottom, and that usually kind of gets my interest. And then, of course, the whole red and black thing. As popular of a color combination as red and black is, I have like no shoes in that color. And actually all the red and black shoes I have outside of a couple Jordans, I guess, are Ultra Boosts, right? So I figure I should probably like get a couple more because I only have like two, But I do like the color, so here we are. I didn't think it was anything amazing, at least not compared to like the black and white one, but I figured if they're going to be easy to come by, this is a chance to get those numbers up because, again, it is a colorway that I like. I just don't seem to find a lot of it. And I do like that they fixed the way the upper itself is actually made. I'd still prefer the prime knit, but hey, it is what it is. And as far as the price that I paid for them, I mean, I would not have wanted to, well, I didn't really want to pay $180 for these, but I wasn't going to pay over retail, and I didn't know if they'd sit long enough to drop under retail. So I just took my chances, right? I get enough things under the retail price points that I don't really worry about it in times like this. So I'm sure it'll balance out sooner or later. Actually, it'll balance out with the other reviews that I'm going to be doing today. So there's that. Moving on. Let's go ahead and talk about the sizing, because that's the last part we need to do. And the comfort. This particular shoe I bought in a 9.5 because I'm a true to size 9.5 guy. That's what works for me, right? And that's what I go with on my Ultraboost, true to size. Actually on pretty much everything Adidas does for the most part. So I did that on these and it works out like I expected it to. The one thing that I will say is that even though I do find these to be a true size fit and all that good stuff, if you have had Ultraboost in the past, and you can tell this is more modeled after like the 1 through 4 series, if you're expecting it to fit like that, it kind of will. It's just that these aren't nearly as snug as those other ones because this isn't prime knit. So it's going to be a bit of a looser feel. So if you thought that the past ones were a little too snug for you, you might feel differently about these. So that's just something to keep in mind. And they also just kind of have a different feel overall because of that reason. They don't feel as secure, honestly. There's just the overall structure. It's just the way that is. But I mean, it's not a running shoe. It's a casual shoe. So that piece of it really doesn't matter a whole lot. This is just something that you're kind of going to wear and walk around in, right? Now, while you are walking around in these, how comfortable are they going to be? They're going to be pretty all right? Now, again, this is based off of the 1 through 4 series. So that boost that you have down here is before they kind of like stiffened it up just a little bit. So it's going to be kind of squishy and whatnot. So again, if you don't like squishy shoes, you're probably not going to like this. So maybe find something else to do with your money. But if that doesn't really matter to you so much, then stick with them and you're probably going to be pretty cool with it, right? Again, the newer ones, they have that stiffer boost like the 19s and after. So it does feel a little bit better, personal opinion of course, but if you're just going to wear these as a casual wear and not worried about performance, I wouldn't even think twice about it. I just say stuff like that because every so often it's useful to somebody. If that somebody isn't you, whatever. So, past that, I think we've kind of covered everything, right? I don't think there's anything else left to say about these, so we can just go ahead and get that all wrapped up. But yeah, these are going to work out all right as far as a new addition to the collection. Kind of glad I picked them up. One thing I didn't quite mention was that down here, the only part where it is kind of different is you do have some red stitching down there on the end of that cage. you know, so there's that. I didn't really think about it before, and it doesn't much matter, but since I saw it, I figured I'd say it, because who knows, maybe someone else was about to say it or cares to know stuff like that. Anyways, for now, we are done. So from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I gotta get moved on so I can knock out these 3 other reviews and stuff and then do that live later, right? So for now, later people.